The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And we're a little late and the monitor's on. I'm going to get up and turn on the monitor. So, welcome to live TV. And it's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Oh. We all heard your "Oh God" statement, so. Unbelievable. We're already getting text messages about it.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, that's it. I was crying out for help. I wasn't taking it in vain, so. And I couldn't find the Grinch stole my hat or the puppy, so I'm going to wear this momentarily just for Christmas. It's green.
Oh, God.
So, all right, now they've started on a lighter note in the holiday season. Let's get right to Charlie Baker's gas tax cements his RhINO legacy. And for all those who don't know what the RhINO acronym means, it means Republican in name only.
Isn't that the truth? Just
as Dino is. Yeah, just like our Dinos, they all run down here as Dinos, but they're really RhINOs.
Yep.
Because they love to screw the working guy. So Charlie's giving you another tax. We got $1.1 billion in surplus funds from overtaxation, and they're going to want more. And that's going to segue into how I want to close this show, talking about the future of Fall River and how no matter how much money they have,
they never have enough.
They never have enough, and they'll keep taxing you. And until you vote them all out, we'll never stop taxation. Because some of us can remember a time when they were very nervous about taxing. They didn't tax you every year. They didn't find something to increase your cost of living every year. But no, on a Christmas holiday, there goes the damn thing already. Okay, I didn't do a very good job of fixing that thing, so.
I'm gonna have to get some super glue. Or
I'm hitting it so hard because I'm so angry with all the taxes and the lack of fiduciary responsibility. So Charlie cements his legacy. And then this other thing with
did you read why he wants to do this gas tax? As a carbon offset.
Look. Wait a minute.
I was like,
let me put my helmet on again. The death rays are coming on. Oh, come on. They got every excuse in the world. They don't need the money. It's about them getting more money so they can give more of their friends contracts and jobs and create more political patronage.
That money is going to go directly to the MBTA.
Carbon emission. Then what was the other one we heard at the beginning? It'll reduce the people driving into Boston. Right. Bull. It's not going to. If people are going to go to work, they're going to go to work. You think, as we said on a previous show, do you really believe that somebody, although maybe we might know a few people in Fall River who are masochists who might, who actually drive up to Boston to get stuck in those traffic jams every day just as a hobby? Do you really want to sit there in traffic for an hour and moving at about 2 miles an hour if you move at all?
When I used to go
just because you like it.
When I used to go to Boston University Medical Center, 8 o'clock in the morning, I had my appointments to be seen. And that was 3 times a week for months. And let me tell you something.
Look, it's now like when I go to Boston, if I got an early appointment to see a doctor for one of my checkups or something, or if I have a test I have to do, if I have an appointment before 11 in the morning, I have to leave 3 hours minimum.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've left 3 hours early and not made it on time.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really think people want to do this? Do you really think that this is going to increase, people will take the commuter rail? No, they won't. They just said it's going to take 2.5 hours if it's running on time.
Exactly.
To get to Boston. So
Exactly.
do you really believe that somebody that works in Boston is going to spend 5 hours minimum in travel time to work an 8-hour day? I mean, politicians just piss me off so much that they can almost ruin a holiday season.
Well, the thing is, why would you want to take the commuter rail for 2.5 hours when driving is going to take you 2.5 hours, and then wait? Now remember, you got to include the waiting time for the next commuter rail to take you back home. It's not like you want to leave; you can leave it whenever you want.
Oh, and by the way, I've been on a T. Because many times when we went to Boston, we didn't want to fight the traffic for an arbitration.
Quincy Adams Station.
So Quincy Adams took the T in. And let me tell you something. You'd rather be stuck in your car for 2.5 hours because you got the air conditioning, you listen to the radio. When you get on that T to come home at night, you are like a sardine.
Yeah.
You are gonna be standing there smelling people's armpits for an hour while you go from wherever you are around the State House. It doesn't start getting light until you hit Quincy.
That's right.
Quincy, and then Quincy Adams, and then you get the Braintree. But until you get to Quincy, all those stops, Downtown Crossing, and I know them all. I've been on that T a million times, and it's like, please, you think that somebody is going to opt for the T, especially going this far? Yeah, there are students and people who work in there. They have to going to take the T rather than get snarled up in work traffic in Boston and be stuffed like a sardine. But look, they're so ridiculous, and that's what gets me. You know the old saying, if you're going to urinate on my head, at least afford me the courtesy of not trying to convince me it's raining.
I hear
This
you.
is what disturbs me. Look, just come out with it, Charlie. We're a never-ending cesspool of money grabbers. And that's all we ever do. And we got you clowns out there convinced that you're supposed to get taxes increased, and then no matter how much we tax you, you never vote us out. So it's your own fault, voters. You keep these people in. In the old days, they wrote them out on a rail. If somebody raised taxes in an election year, they were gone. I remember Carlton Rivera shaking in his boots, even looking at a tax rate increase, because they would have been gone. Any city councilor that supported increasing residential property taxes. It was absurd. But look, this is what they do. Remember this when we get into the second part of this, because this is all they ever do. Fill you full of bullshit and increase your cost of living and give you nothing except higher gas taxes, higher everything taxes. And then say, thank me, I'm up here working for you. No, you're not. You don't even care what we say. We voted for a decrease in the sales tax. You went, hey, here it is. You know what, finger. And we voted for capital punishment. What did you do? What did we say in the last show? I mean, when are you gonna get it, people? The only thing that I agree with Tom Steyer on is that we need term limits.
That's it.
And because the people are too dumb we should be the term limiters. I am, because I never vote for somebody that's not working for me. I don't care if they're my friend personally.
You mean you don't care about the chow mein sandwich?
No. Look, you can give me chow mein sandwiches, you can give me ham and beans, or whatever you want. Fish and chips. Remember, we had one fish and chip dinner one time. Flanagan did that one at the Liberal Club, a fish and chip dinner. They have all these things. You can't buy me with that. You and I may agree on a lot of things, and we may enjoy each other's company in a social setting. But it's just like if my neighbor can't fix my car, if he's a mechanic, he's never going to get my business.
The sad part.
And these people, I'm not going to vote for people. I don't vote for people who ignore me. who say, I don't care about you. I really don't care. I'm going to give all the rich guys up, we're going to give them TIFs, and if they don't get TIFs, we might give them double TIFs, triple TIFs. And then if they don't have a TIF, they can come in every year and whine about lowering their tax factor so we can raise your tax factor.
That's right.
So you can get hit with the TIF increase that's factored into the tax base. You can get in with the new with the tax decrease when they change the factor. And does anybody ever say, well, all these rich people, all these rich towns, they don't have problems that they have the maximum tax factor? Guess what? They're going to know this time. Our new city council will know, because I'm going to draft a letter, and I'm between now and when the budget, that's plenty of time, June. It's one of my to-do lists.
They're going to have that out in March.
The New Year's resolution. I am going to go research the tax factors in all the rich communities and all the communities of our size. And then I'm going to also get the numbers of businesses. Now, I remember the last one I researched, Newton had 10,000 more businesses than Fall River.
And they have a tax factor of 1.75.
And they have a max tax factor, which proves that tax factors are totally irrelevant in keeping businesses in business. The fact is that Newton has the highest individual and per capita and household income in the state of Massachusetts. Fall River doesn't even have half the state average, and Newton is almost double the state average. That's how you get businesses, having people with discretionary cash. And in Fall River, it's the city council and mayor's job to take as much money as they can away from the people, and then they use that to justify them giving more breaks to the people who are creating the problem.
And their friends' jobs.
And their friends' jobs, true.
Don't forget that.
So, well, I guess Charlie getting another one for Charlie. Hit it with that'll keep
the flour on.
The flour on. Smack them with the flour. Here. Smell that sunflower, Charlie.
Well, you know, the really interesting thing.
And also the legislature.
Yeah, gotta get
who's going to approve it.
That's right. The odd thing is that guess what the T's big problem is? It's their pension system.
Yeah.
It's they not only underfunded it, they didn't fund it. I mean, it's so low, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but they'll get. Don't worry. They'll find the money, because you know who works on a T? All the relatives, the unemployable relatives of our politicians, because that is the largest dumping ground. That and a lottery.
Yep.
That's where all the connected people who can't find a real job, if they know somebody that's higher up on a food chain, they'll grab a job on the MBTA or in the Lottery Commission.
Yep.
Think about the people you know who work on the Lottery Commission and tell me that they're not connected.
Well, it's interesting because Fall River's dumping ground always was the Housing Authority.
Housing Authority, BCTC.
Yeah,
Don't forget that.
Yeah, but that's a little more upscale. That's when you want to give $80,000.
They've been listening to our show, because I heard the person that supposedly never shows up for work came in with a doctor's note now. Oh, I've been sick. But how about
5 years?
How about the last 5 years you didn't show up for work? You've been sick for 5 years. But look, it's obscene, and probably, and I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to be ignorant. We research stuff and we see this stuff, and it upsets us. But see, the rest of the general public, they ignore it. They go, out of sight, out of mind. What's BCTC? What's the Housing Authority? What's CDA?
Yep.
We don't care about that. I don't care. Or the other great excuse that they use, that's the way it is. We can't do anything about it.
And that's the problem.
Yes,
you can't even, for a recall, you can get people to pull together and sign those recall petitions and make it happen. But for an underride, to cut your taxes, they're afraid to sign it. I don't know what the problem is.
Well, because most of the people left in Fall River got city jobs. And they'll figure there'll be layoffs, and because, again, politicians, because you leave them in, They even make it difficult if the people want to do it, because whenever there's a layoff, Do they lay off the ice house guard?
No, they
The
lay
felon?
off.
They
the
lay
people
off
who work.
police, fire, people who do, people in City Hall who actually work, who are collecting the money, who go to work every day and work a full day. No, they don't cut the fat. They cut services that directly impact you. So it's like shooting yourself in the foot.
Right.
And that's the way people are afraid for an underwrite, because, and the only way to cure that is to get rid of them.
That's right.
That's the only way. You gotta make it a rule in Fall River that if you want to serve on a city council or you want to be the mayor, you have to be working in the best interest of the taxpayer and the residents of Fall River.
But that's already the rule.
Not business. Not business. That is the rule, but they don't abide by it.
That's right.
But look, I'm not cutting any. I'm not going to cut them any slack. I'll put the blame right where it belongs. The people. Because what is our favorite section of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
Part of the first Article 5.
Who are the politicians at all times answerable to? The
They're answerable
people.
to us.
The people. So if you don't make them answerable, shame on you. It's your fault. It's the people of the state of Massachusetts. They allow these clowns because nobody, and we've been in this a long time, and the reason we can't change it is nobody wants to get rid of their pet rock.
That's it.
You can get rid of all the other pet rocks in Boston, but you got to keep my pet rock. Because I can call him up, or I might get a free chow mein sandwich or something from him. Or if I need something up in Boston, I'll call him and he might do some ridiculously inane thing for me. So get rid of all the other pet rocks because they're no good, but we got to keep ours. But the problem is that every city and town in Massachusetts, all 351 of them, that's the attitude. Get rid of yours. I'm going to keep mine. So we end up keeping them, virtually
right.
90% of them all the time.
And when we voted to have term limits, they turned us down again.
That's right. And did we rebel? Did they storm the? They're gonna stop buses and stuff because of climate change, but they're wrecking your life, taking all your money, and nobody will hit the streets about this.
It's time to storm the Bastille.
That's right. Storm the Bastille. That's right. That's right. Viva la France. But so we got this other one, Ruth Bader Ginsberg.
That actually came out of us. That's a satire article. I did me a little bit of research to find it.
It's a satire. Yeah.
Yes. Did a little bit of research.
But it's a pretty good satire.
It is a really good satire. I loved it. I mean, can you see the most liberal Supreme Court justice saying that the impeachment is a line of bullshit?
and whoever put this together was pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Because they released it right before Hanukkah.
That's right.
And you know that she can't make any kind of comments during Hanukkah. She can't say this wasn't me.
She can't say a word until next Sunday night.
That's right. She's celebrating Hanukkah. So they released it at the perfect time.
Yep.
Fake news when you can't refute it. So it is what it is.
And by the time she refutes it, it's going to be forgotten.
But now that we started with
Taxes.
gas, but these two articles are made. It must be Christmas. We got our Christmas present today.
Yep.
We got two articles that directly segue into what I really want to talk about today.
Go for it.
We got politicians just killing you with taxes, and no way, and no even feeble attempt to control spending. Just out of control freight train, runaway train spending, because they don't care. And we will tell you why. And then we've got fake news, because that's all they live in. You and I were having a discussion about some comments that were made by politicians in regard to a very important issue in the city, and one of the biggest financial liabilities we have, the health care. You remember that, Sid?
I remember that conversation well. We've had it many times.
You told me that somebody said, well, we don't have to fully fund our health care. And then I had another individual who isn't officially a politician yet tell me that, well, almost everybody does it. So that gets me to my year-ending little seminar on reality. We always complain about taxes. We always complain. We always quote Milton Friedman, that they given the Sahara Desert, they're running out of sand. Now we're going to explain to you why. You have time. It's a kind of a season that there's not a lot of politic and there's a lot of backslapping and I'm going to.
No, because everyone got elected already.
I'm going to have Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We're going to do a great job and blah blah blah. And and in fairness, we have said, and I believe we have to say wait and see. We can't say anything about the incoming council, the incoming school committee, or the incoming mayor until they begin to run the city. But we can talk about what has gone on in the past, because if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And also the convoluted logic we always complain about, like whether it's Jazel saying, well, somebody did a lot worse than him. So it doesn't matter that he's charged with extortion. Somebody must have extorted more money than him. So two wrongs make a right. That's the political philosophy. The correct quote is, two wrongs don't make a right. Oh, this serial killer only killed 8 people. I know a serial killer that killed 21. So what do? Let that serial killer with 8 off? Though, because somebody else is doing it wrong, because government in general is doing it wrong, that's what makes it right. I don't know, CJ, does that make sense to you?
Makes absolutely perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out and hold up 4 banks, but
Yeah.
somebody else held up 5, so I get to walk, right? That's the way it
Yeah,
works.
and because every other city government, or most of the city governments, especially in communities that are in trouble, because we've already drawn that parallel between Newton and Fall River.
That's right.
We've already showed that the BS that they're throwing. That's why I'm going to write a letter, because I'm going to remind them this is a chamber of commerce that said this city was a low crime area. When 2 years in a row, we were the most dangerous city in the Commonwealth. So don't believe anything they say. I will have United States Census Bureau statistics to prove my position. But they say, well, everybody else does it. Well, that's why all those communities are always in trouble. And they're always financially strapped, because they're not really running a budget. They're running a scam. So let me give you an example of what they're saying is right. I have long been complaining about Kathy Ann, and especially with Kathy Ann, because there was a time when they did fund it. The city has to pay 75% of the health care costs.
Contractually.
So what happens is, every month, the employees pay their 25% by payroll deduction. So whatever that figure is, so we'll make it nice round figures.
$100,000.
So yeah, well, it's 100.
Probably more than that.
$25,000 for the year comes out of our paycheck, broken down into 12 equal payments. The city is supposed to have $75,000 in their budget. Now, this budget and this amount was predicated not on one, but 2 actuarial projections by experts in the field, supposedly. Blue Cross and Blue Shield looks at our previous year's experience. They look at what the projected inflation rate is. They set what they feel is a premium that will allow us not to be able to pay for our medical coverages and pay for our health care. And then those figures are further reviewed by a company who the city has hired and been around for years. It used to be called Group Benefit Strategies. Now it's called Gallagher. A larger company bought them out after 20 or 30 years. I think the previous CEO of GBS wanted to retire, or at least cut back, so he allowed himself to be absorbed. But they look at it, and they come up with a premium. So they come up to us and they give us a ton of figures, and I'll show these figures to anybody. Any of you people like numbers, I'll give you all the reports, all the numbers, the experience.
3,200 pages worth.
Yeah, probably more like 3,000. But I'll give you all the numbers that we have to agonize over. But look, you can't really agonize. You know as well as I do. Actuarials, that's their job. Actuarial tells me, well, we have to factor in this much amount for inflation. We've been doing pretty good because we've been running under budget most of the time. But herein lies the rub. Kathy Ann has said numerous times they don't fund it fully because we always run under budget. And they say that's a prudent way to run a budget. Now, as I see the time getting closer, I have to get a little quicker here. That is not a prudent way to run a budget. It's a prudent way for a government to run a budget because it's not really running a budget. What it's telling you is, hey, look, I'm not even going to have enough money to pay all my bills. And if it ends up, it's like, here's the analogy. You need $7,500 a year to pay for your heat. So you only put $5,000 away for your heat and pray that we have a warm winter. All of a sudden, it comes in exactly what the actuarial told you, $7,500. Guess what? Even though you were told that you could have stayed within your budget, you didn't, because now you're $2,500 short. So what do you have to do? You have to go somewhere in the budget and rob money and put it in a place where it should have been in the first place. And then it leaves a hole in the budget. Like when they said, oh, we're going to get rid of the bags. Well, you got rid of the bags, but you're not getting rid of the revenue. That's in the budget. So you have to find that revenue somewhere else. But that's the con of government. And they say it works. It doesn't work. That's why they're afraid of a forensic audit. It doesn't work. What it means is that at the end of the year, when they don't fill positions like firefighters and police to save a few dollars on salaries and benefits so they can pump it into the deficit budget that they're running, and then when it fails, what do? We never have to run on budget. You do in your house, because if you don't put enough in your heating bill and you steal from your electricity, you don't have electricity. Then when your electric bill comes through, if you steal it from your water bill, then your water bill's going to be short. So ultimately you're going to lose something: gas, electricity, water, or you won't have enough money to pay your food. You won't buy food. You'll be eating cat food. See, that's what happens to you. And that's what happens to me, and that's what happens to every taxpayer in the city of Fall River, while they're giving these people more and more breaks and running a budget like this. Running a budget like this. Because at the end of the day, you know how they make it up? They bond and they increase taxes and fees. So they're not running under budget. So I am, again, going to be watching and waiting. This point has been made and duly noted, and hopefully they'll do what people who actually know finances have told them should be done, and not tell me and the council that, well, everybody else does it. Well, everybody else does it because everybody else can tax you to death. So let's make a deal, everybody, on Christmas. Let's make a New Year's resolution. If the city underfunds things again, and we can prove it, and we will prove it, vote them out of office.
That's it. Hey, everybody. Fall River made a magazine. It's called In the State, In Your State. Read it. It's all a propaganda story for tourism. Have a great day, great holiday, and Merry Christmas.
Stay safe over the holidays. And remember, taxpayer.